Welcome everyone back to the Chill Like a Mother podcast. I am here with Jennifer Buchanan, a incredible music therapist from Calgary. She taught me everything I know about incorporating music into my life and into my work with my clients. And I am just so excited for her to be with us this morning. Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning, Kayla. So happy.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're here. And I just want to share with you that morning routines. Like, can we talk about morning routines
How about if we
in
just talk about the morning,
the morning?
right? Like, like just how that happens and how quickly it can go awry. Let's do that.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. As you know, I have two little kids. My partner works away 50% of the time, which is not a bad thing. It's actually a really great thing. But my kids wake up with a bang. And
Right.
so can we talk about how moms like navigate the morning
The
from
morning.
eyes closed to eyes open?
Right. And just as a reminder, I'm coming from this place now of looking back on it too, because my kids are living in their own places and they're living their own lives, creating their own homes, and we're still talking about how to set the tone of our homes, because regardless of whether you have kids just add a complexity to it. But this concept of creating an auditory environment as well as a beautiful physical aesthetic, whatever that will be, which may or not include a pile of laundry, whatever that's going to be for you, this concept of just adding that dimension of sound into your home is a real a piece that we don't always talk about. And so I'm glad we're going there right now. I can remember when they were little, and I get that jumping out of bed and they're just activated. What is that? They are just ready to go. Like, where did the slow entry into the day disappear to? Like letting the eyes flutter open and having a little relaxation time. I can remember that it was too much for me. As someone who would then go and do a job that had a lot of sound, their sounds in the morning, which included a lot of mummy, 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 which it included a lot of pitter patter and then a thunk. And then you would have, going and rifling through the cereal boxes or whatever was going to happen, going down the stairs, sometimes sliding down the stairs. Like, there was so much activity right away. And I it wasn't always happy either. There could be also fighting. I don't know how many people have the twos. Mine were, 16 months apart. And by the time they were 2 and 3, 1 and 2 even, I mean, there was just always so much happening between the two of them right out of the gate. So I tried a lot of things around how could sound help, because sound also adds cognitive load. So when done not well, it could add to that level of chaos. And if you're ever, that's our first message today. If it ever is, it's better not to have it. But with a little bit of intention and a little bit of planning, we could have, with today's technology, not only your alarm clock that should make music and not a buzzer. So that's one thing. Let's change that over to music, and hopefully you're now using phones and you can, find the right song that you want for yourself. But also there's a way to do that within your living room environment, or where the main place is going to be when the kids enter into it in the morning. So as you think about that space, that auditory space, we can set music to start playing at a very light level 15 minutes before their actual wake time, because then they're also waking up into it. And that's going to be our first audit. How does that affect them? So every idea needs some testing. If it doesn't work the first time, try it again. I'm going to suggest trying 3 or 4 times because we want this to be something where you could go, oh, that didn't work. Oh, that worked differently. Oh, that worked today. And then you can continue doing it. So you've got this space, you've got some music going on. How do you choose the music? We talk a lot about preferences. And so, sure, it could be your kids' preferences, but that also tends to have a ramping up effect where they get so excited about their music. So, I'm going to recommend for this early morning, it's something they don't know and maybe even something you want to introduce. So this is where you could come up with some world music. It could be a way that now we also know it's going to help with some brain development by hearing something new and developing those new neural pathways. And I will suggest keeping it at a very slow tempo. So we're talking around that 40 to 60 beats per minute, which is very low, which is also what we go to sleep with. So you want to keep it still in that sleep realm, in that calming realm. The first song closer to the 40, the second song the 50, the third song the 60. So you can also have this general waking up state. Just as an aside, we're doing research on this also at the local hospital where people are feeling pain, and we are using a mechanism that takes them through this U shape of starting at higher at 80 beats per minute and dropping people down to 40, but then doing the wake up time at the end from the 40 to the 60 to the 80. And so far, with 1,000 respondents, we are seeing a 35% reduction in perception of pain. 35%. And so that's that being able to activate that parasympathetic, keep people really calm. And wouldn't it be nice even for 5 minutes? And that's all we're asking for here. We just need 5 minutes in the morning that they wake up into their calming music. How does that sound for a first step?
Oh, amazing first step. Amazing. And I absolutely agree with you in terms of sometimes their preference or their choice of music is an activator. It's a rever. You know, it brings the more, it actually adds to the energy, even though it's their preference and their tempo. And as a parent who is living it right now in the thick of it, in my brain, I would choose that, well, it's their preference and I don't have to argue about it. Then I don't have to, like, there's no negotiation. There's no extra on my end. But I also see it from the other side where I have experimented with this. When it's theirs, it does rev, or it needs to be like when we're getting close to the door choices, right? Because then it's like, okay, like now we got to go. Where when it is my choice in the morning, or I've just come down the stairs, speaker on, okay, flip, 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 this one, it has had that effect of the calming because they don't often know the words and it's just in the background.
Yeah, and it is, and yet it still has influence. You're bringing up a good point. So, developing this together and just hearing what you're talking about, it would also be interesting if this is your 15 to 20 minute set list, just giving you those few moments. You could go to an hour if you wanted to. But the last few songs could lead into one of those softer preferences that they recognize, which also could be the trigger, as in, now we're ready to go off in our day. So you're sending them off with something. Keep in mind that no matter what music you choose, especially if you're using it repeatedly over periods of weeks and months, this is really going to become a part of their soundtrack. They're going to remember these things a decade from now. Remember, Mom, when you did this, or you played that, or I really liked that song. I just heard it again for the next day. I hear this from my kids now. Thank you for introducing me to that. when it comes to lyrics or no lyrics, there's some thought with that as well. And this is, again, just trying things and doing things with intention. Lyrics are adding to that cognitive load. As you're mentioning, the ones that they don't know will have less impact. The ones they do know have greater impact in that revving sensation. Trying with no lyrics is always an interesting quest as well. And I think healthy for us to be able to just see how we respond. You can move into something with some lyrics afterwards, but starting with, music with no words may be a good start.
Yes. I've been experimenting only because it's just been released. So Linkin Park re-released their paper cuts, and so one version is all the lyrics and music, and the
Yeah.
other one is just acoustic
Cool.
sounds.
Okay.
And
Yeah, yeah.
I've been experimenting with both, and I actually really enjoy the non-lyric album
Interesting.
because it gives the beat, the body beat, and the memory of it, without some of the what some people would perceive as the harshness of the lyrics, or
Yeah.
the way that they sing the rock music.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting to just have it on in the background.
Well, and there's a lot of evidence now that says that music with no lyrics are the ones that help you with studying, help you with sleeping, and help you with relaxation. Those three have so much evidence when the lyrics are removed, even when it's melodies that you recognize. And it's because it just doesn't have that added thing that your brain has to attend to in some ways, or that it naturally wants to attend to. And so it gives you the space to be able to do those things. Yeah.
Do you have any insight for the audience who may be thinking, like, this is one more thing I have to add to my morning, and that kind of built-in objection for busy parents?
Yeah. Automate it. So this is something, if you could set it up like the alarm, so it could be on your phone, it could be your second alarm, so your first alarm actually, and it plays on the speaker in your living room. So have it set up for that. You can have your second alarm for you coming up if you need that. But that's one way to do it, is to automate it as much as possible to go on. And that's, again, how technology can help us. It is something, because it's going to be a part of the routine. I feel that for that 15 minutes and the effects that are going to happen, or potentially happen, or what I've experienced happen in my own life, it's really worth it. Because it is going to help all the other pieces fall in line like breakfast.
Yes, and I can attest to that as well, especially in a neurospicy household where we wake up with a bang, and it can definitely provide.
Yeah,
It's a sweet spot in that
yeah,
mental load of a support
yeah,
and a focus point.
yeah.
Yeah.
And even if it's just for you. So if at the end of this, we're not setting things up in the living room, and we're not setting up music for the kids in particular, set it up for you. Set it up for you. And how is it making you feel? And is it giving a bit more of a frame to your day? Something, music quickly becomes a reliable friend that isn't going to say things outside of expectation. It's just, this music can just be there and validate us where we're at, and make us feel like we're contributing to something by just pressing play and being a part of something that includes ourselves in it. We're not being neglected and left behind. So that's what music can do for us.
Oh, yes. Oh, thank you so much for sharing this resource with us today. I really appreciate your perspective of the looking back on it, and I remember hearing this story of how you set this up for your children nearly 7 years ago when I was taking my expressive arts therapy training. And I have held on to this story of how music in the morning, when done with intention, either for myself or for all of the members of my family, have really shaped the way that our mornings go. And so I just appreciate you sharing this resource.
It's great.
Thank you so much for being here with us today, Jennifer. I really, really appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.